What's going on, Colts Nation? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy, where we cover all things Colts every single day. And if you're new here, this is something that we do. We cover that we're at the beginning of the offseason, the beginning of the new season, following the draft. OTAs are starting. We get some news coming out of that camp now. So we'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe as we continue to grow this community into something really, really cool. I've been encouraged and excited to see what we've seen come out of this already. So it's been fun. But today we're going to talk about the undrafted free agents that the Colts have brought in, and some have been surprising and some not so much. But undrafted free agents might not seem like a big deal. There's only been a few legends come out of undrafted free agents. In Colts folklore, we had Jeff Saturday, Adam Vinatieri, Gary Brackett, Dominic Rhodes, and not to mention Kenny Moore and Rigoberto Sanchez, who had a couple really good years with the Colts. And so we're talking about undrafted free agents and who the Colts are inviting to the minicamp this year that are just going to take place for all the rookies. So who are the Colts bringing in? The first one was a little surprising, and it's kind of been fun to watch. Jason Bean, quarterback out of Kansas. I think this is a room that the Colts are just looking to, I think you bring in a couple quarterbacks every year to a rookie minicamp just to see who's going to be your third or fourth string. Sam Ehlinger is now on his fourth year. So they're probably looking for a young guy to be that third string quarterback. Anytime you see someone that go all 7 rounds without even being drafted. But yeah, so the Jason Bean, he's one of those guys, really young guy, but really fast. He had a lot of QB runs in Kansas. That was a fun offense to watch this season. But the next one is Brandon Bishop, defensive back out of Liberty. Now, Brandon Bishop had a breakout season his senior year at Liberty University, and they invited him to a minicamp tryout, which means they haven't officially signed him yet. But to go over to Brandon Bishop's, just some of his stats, he's a 6 foot, 200 pound. He's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He played 3 seasons at the University of Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, and he had 3 interceptions last year alone. He had 61 tackles, 41 solo, 20 assists, and just had a really, really good defensive season. He had a fumble recovery and 3 interceptions last year. In the first 3 years, he didn't really have as much, didn't play as many snaps, but then transferring over to Louisville really had a much better season. And so this could be exciting, especially, like I said, Kenny Moore was an undrafted free agent. And so I think this could be really exciting to see. Another one is another defensive tackle, surprise, surprise. Quentin Bivens from Southern Mississippi. He's, just your standard run-of-the-mill defensive tackle. So, again, they may add some more depth to that. That was actually, they did sign him as an undrafted free agent. The next one is Dakota Canton of Indiana State. He's a wide receiver. Nothing really to report there, just another wide receiver. Another defensive tackle. This one was interesting. Malcolm Epps, tight end out of Pitt, has played 7 seasons in college. I don't even know how these guys keep doing this. I mean, we had the COVID years, we had red shirts, and he was invited to a minicamp tryout. And so that'll take place this week. And then to go through more guys that the Colts have officially signed, you had Keaton Slovis from BYU. Nothing to report there. Jason Bean. Trent Penix. This one's interesting. A tight end wide receiver out of NC State. And I have his stats. He is 6'2", 200 pounds, so really a bigger guy. And he's, just one of those. There's nothing really to report on that one. Really, I think Brandon Bishop's the one that has intrigued me the most of all of these. But we'll scroll back over and get to the guys they actually have signed yet. They did sign a kicker, Spencer Schrader, out of Notre Dame. And reminder, for this particular time, the roster has expanded. There's a 53-man roster, and they're expanded up to 75 players. So there are 22 players that the Colts are able to have on their roster that will not make the opening day cut, and they don't have to make those cuts until the week or 2 weeks before the regular season. So a lot of these guys will get the opportunity to get some snaps in the preseason and see what that looks like. This one's interesting. I actually expected Xavier White out of Texas Tech. This was a room that I thought the Colts were going to address in the draft. I thought at some point surely they were going to address the running back room. Xavier White has some actually really good tape, and he's one that I think I was surprised didn't get picked up. Especially, I thought he'd get picked up in the 5th or 6th round honestly, especially because so many teams needed this. So let's go through his stats. He actually did play 5 years. So he's a redshirt senior. He is 6'0", 195 pounds, so a bigger running back as far as it goes. He's actually listed here as a wide receiver, so did quite a bit of both, I think. I think when he was listed on the draft board, he was listed as a running back, though, so I think he did a little bit of both. Played for Texas Tech. And yeah, had 2019. He actually did play more wide receiver this year than last year, or than years past. So he did have a lot. 68 for. He had an average rushing of 4.6, 7.0. So for 2 years, had actually a really good rushing total. So I think he was one of those dynamic. You kind of put him, in one of those RPO options. So that was one I expected him to get picked up, listed as a running back. But definitely plays both running back and wide receiver. It seems like the Colts are just adding more of this. And then another defensive lineman. They added Isaiah Coe from Oklahoma. I think this is just another direction they're adding some depth to. And then another few that they added was the Ben Farrell, offensive line from Purdue. They have him for a minicamp tryout. They do have a few offensive linemen coming in. But I think the one that I'm really excited about is this Brandon Bishop. Defensive back out of Liberty University, and just see what he's got to offer. I think this is a room that the Colts are looking to add some depth to, and continue to grow in as this defensive backfield. And Ballard has said he's confident in who he's got. He's confident in the team around him. And so I think this is really interesting. I'm curious to see where this will go in the future. And if anything comes out of this, and maybe we have another star on our hands. Maybe we have another Kenny Moore. Maybe we have another Jeff Saturday in this diamond in the rough. And we'll continue to monitor this as this comes.